morning, everyone. This is Vidette Vanderweide with VidetteV.com and the Reinvention Channel.com. And I'm here with a new friend of mine whom I think will become a very dear friend to me. And her name is Vanessa Halloum. And I'm going to read you her bio really fast so you know a little bit about her. And then I'll tell you about my thoughts on my new friend, Vanessa. So Vanessa is the author of the 5 Feminine Power Virtues and the founder of FeminineSoul.com. So make sure you go there because you'll find me on her online community for women who want to connect and collaborate with other visionary women and unleash their feminine potential. Who doesn't want to do that? So if you're a woman, you should go there. We'll all become powerful and unleash our feminine potential there. She's also the host of the Feminine Soul Radio on Blog Talk Radio, where she has in-depth conversations with incredible women on how to live empowering and inspiring lives. She has spent the last 20 years, I don't believe that, you were probably 10 at the time, 5, researching and compiling different ways we can empower our lives and reshape our reality. After a successful 15-year marketing career in the corporate world, she left it all behind to follow her dreams. I love that. She now coaches women in their personal life as well as their business life, and she combines the principles of spirituality and consciousness with powerful online marketing strategies to help women entrepreneurs not only succeed in their business, but feel a deep sense of fulfillment and purpose. Thank you, God, for being here with us doing this. So thank you, Vanessa, for being here. Let me finally just say that your book, The 5 Feminine Power Virtues, was chosen as one of the award-winning finalists in the Women's Issue category for the 2012 USA Best Book Award. Wow, congratulations on that, and thanks for being here with us.
Oh, thank you, Vidette. It's so nice to be here with you and so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this.
It is fun. So I want to just give a little bit of background on how we came to meet, and it was, you know, one of those coincidental synchronicity kind of things, and we met on a group mastermind call and just kind of hit it off there, and then took our friendship to a phone call. And what I have loved so much about our conversations that we've had is how inspired you are. And the first thing that came to my mind, or comes to my mind when I think of you, is not only are you inspired, but you take action on the things that come to your mind. And we'll talk a little bit about your new magazine, Conscious Living Magazine, but you know, that was kind of a thing we talked on Monday. You're like, I gotta get that first thing, the first one out for the whole year, but you had the idea and you immediately go to work on bringing that to the world. And that's what I love, women who take inspired action to totally create the things that they want to create. So tell us a little bit about Feminine Soul, and tell us about your journey and how you came to do what you do and leave the corporate world behind forever.
Oh my God, that's a look.
It could take a while, right?
Yeah. So I'll just start with talking a little bit about why I left. I had a nice cushy job in Manhattan, and nice paycheck at the end of the month, and nice title after my name. But I was so unhappy. I would come home and cry for hours. And it's very hard. I always had dreams of maybe leaving it all behind and doing something else. I didn't know what this something else was, but I always thought, no, I can do this. I can leave, and I know I can do something else on my own. But it was just, the security as women. We need kind of like that safety net, that sense of control as well. And when we don't have that, it can be really challenging, really difficult to take the first step. So the universe took the first step for me, and I was laid off.
Oh, woohoo!
Oh, yay!
Thank you.
And I remember on the cab drive home, the thought that kept coming to me over and over again is, I want to do something else. I want to do something else. It just they kept on and on. And I knew that I couldn't go back to the corporate world. I knew that this was like a divinely guided, and this was 5 years ago. And, there was a little bit of kicking and screaming, Sure. I was I would try one thing, and then all of a sudden I'd be start looking for a job. And then I go into all these job sites, and I'll get so depressed. And I'm like, no, I can't do this. Yeah. So, I continue on, and it has taken me a while to get to where I am. I have to say, it's, especially defining what your message is and defining your, You know, and that takes time, and that evolves with time. And I think sometimes we want to have all the answers right away, and we're not going to have all the answers right away. I can promise you that. So that's one thing that, you know, I'll tell every woman to just relax into it. If you're committed, be committed to whatever it is that you want to create, and then just allow it to just flourish and grow. All you have to do is nurture it and be committed to it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wrote my book, The 5 Feminine Power Virtues, which is really my journey on how because when I left the corporate world, one of the things that came up for me almost right away is that I was living my masculine for a long.
Oh yeah, I know a lot about the masculine side.
Yeah,
I live there. Yeah.
I mean, in the corporate world, that's what they basically teach you. That's what they value the most. Actually, you know, it is changing a little bit. They don't really recognize it but, you know, there's a lot of talk about collaboration. Even the famous book, Emotional Intelligence, if you look at it, is talking about going back to our feminine essence, because it's about being a leader that's more about collaboration, about coming from more of a heart space and things like that. But it's still growing.
Vanessa, will you, for those who may not be familiar with masculine versus feminine essence, talk a little bit about what that is, just so everyone's clear on what we're talking about here.
Sure. And by the way, I know some people don't really like even when I start talking about it, because they see it as separation. And that is not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is there are qualities that are natural for women, right? I mean, we can give birth. Men can't. That's just a simple fact. It's not that we're separating it or anything. So we are natural mothers. That's an instinct that whether you are a mother or not, that's something that comes natural to us. So that's just the easiest way to understand, right? The men are the gatherers. They go and they gather things and they bring it back. That's how it has been for many
years. Yes,
gazillion years, right? So there are certain qualities that are natural for men and natural for women. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't leverage each other. So let me just give you an example. A woman, and I know some women nowadays they don't like to hear this, but a woman's quality is more about the tranquility and this more even. I have to be careful when I use this word, but it's about being more of the submissive, right? And we don't like that word because I think we misunderstand it. So I'm not even going to go there, because I believe in being extremely powerful.
Right.
Man is more like go-getter and like the fighter. Competition. Women are about collaboration and coming together and working as a community. So what I like to teach in the work that I do is that we all have masculine and feminine qualities inside of us. Period. Like, I wouldn't be able to get, you're talking about my magazine. I know everybody was like stunned because I got the magazine done. I couldn't believe it myself in like 2 weeks.
And it's gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. And everybody's like, how did you do that? Oh my God. And I couldn't have done it without leveraging my, being my masculine. Let's be honest. But at the same time, I am guided by my feminine, which is the inspiration.
Right.
Which is also that connection with a higher consciousness, a higher being. So the heart and the head need to work together.
Right. Good. Yes.
Problem is sometimes we just get too much in our head and we forget to come back to our heart. Right? We get too much in the masculine and we forget to come back to the feminine. So for women, it's critical because all we're taught, right, and most of our teachers have been men, and God bless them, they're amazing, I love them. However, we have to remember that there is something also out there that might be a slightly different. So for many, many years, I followed and listened to 99.9% teachers were men. Yeah. And I grew dramatically, and I understood, and I evolved, because I do a lot of personal development work. And then finally I met one that actually told me about the difference between the masculine and the feminine. That was like groundbreaking to me. And that's when I realized I was living in my masculine, and I began to live in my feminine but leverage the masculine. That's what I think
good.
To understand.
My pen. Yeah, I want to write that down. That's a good one.
Yeah. Let's say because some of the women I talk to says, oh, I can't be my feminine when, I'm working, my 9 to 5 and 90% of the people I work with are men. They're not going to respect me. Mm-hmm. That's not true. That's not true. That's an illusion that we think. When I say feminine, I don't mean the super sensitive type of feminine that, mm-hmm. Cries in front of other people right. and is confused. No, that's a weak feminine. That's not the feminine that I'm talking about. Feminine is, the feminine essence is very intuitive, is very perceptive, is very concerned about the other person. And that is the new model of leadership. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, that's what we're hearing, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm talking about. And believe me, men respect women in their feminine much more than women in their masculine. Mm-hmm. Again, that doesn't mean that if you have to do a project, you don't, get very focused and very committed and very determined. But when you intimidate people, and I saw a lot of them in the corporate world, women leaders in high positions, they're very intimidating. Mm-hmm. They're actually worse than men.
Because they're not leveraging the masculine, they are the masculine.
Well, there's also, and I'm not going to go too much into detail here, but there's also the dark masculine and the light masculine, just like there is a dark feminine and the light feminine, mm-hmm. right? So, I mean, it makes sense, right? Yeah, we all have our dark shadows. We all have our things to deal with. So what women sometimes do in high corporate positions is they go into the dark masculine. Mm-hmm. So then even the men lose respect for them. Right. And then they get upset when they're called, the B word.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, if it was a man, you wouldn't say that. Well, no. If it's a man in his dark shadow, in his dark masculine, you would say the same thing.
Right. Exactly. So you explored your feminine essence coming out of the corporate world, and that's when the 5 feminine powers, or 5 feminine virtues were what the book was birthed, so to speak. So tell us a little bit about that journey for yourself. How did you learn that journey? How did you step into? And the only reason you teach what you need to know, I have always been really into my masculines, the linear thinker, the marketer, and I am now, in my own journey of rediscovering my own feminine essence. So talk a little bit about that journey and a little bit about your book.
Sure. So my book was a wonderful journey, mm-hmm. and it was a healing journey. I really felt that I needed to write it, mm-hmm. Not only because I wanted to share my message, but because I wanted to also heal myself. You said such a beautiful thing. You teach what you most need to learn in this life. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of times we think our teachers are perfect and, there's nothing wrong with them. And couldn't be furthest from the truth. Mm-hmm. A teacher is a guide, is somebody that is there to guide us because they've been through the dark and now they're sharing the light. Yeah. But that doesn't mean they don't go back to the darkness. Right? It doesn't mean that they don't make mistakes. So I was inspired. I think I remember I wasn't sure what I was going to write about. I knew I wanted to be a messenger. I think that's mm-hmm. the best word of saying it. Yeah. So when people ask me, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh my God, it's like I'm an author."
That's I think the hardest question to pin down.
But being a messenger, I think, is a great way to explain it. I'm a messenger, and I always knew I wanted to be a messenger, but I didn't know what my message was going to be. And I tried a couple of different things, and nothing really worked. So then I remember getting an email. I was in a newsletter from this wonderful woman. She's a fantastic marketer mm-hmm. who is very much in her heart space. So I love it. Mm-hmm. I really like her work. And she says something.
So she blends the masculine and feminine. She's the left brain marketer with the right brain heart centered entrepreneur. So I just want to make that point. Perfect. Exactly. What you just said was so perfect. It brings the two together. That blending together is what we need to create powerful lives.
Yes. So she said something in the email that I think, now that I think about it, I think is what really kind of got me on this path and made me committed to it. She said, use your life. In terms of what do you do and what do you write about and, what's your message? She said, it's so simple, right?
Yeah.
Simple.
Duh.
But she said, use your life. There's so much value. You have gone through what you've gone through mm-hmm. for a reason.
Right.
So that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to use my life. And there are sometimes we think like, oh my God, all the horrible things that I've gone through, I wish I could erase them, right? Or I wish I could go back and do them all over again.
Yeah.
And it's actually the opposite. That's actually your jewels. Those are your treasures.
Mm-hmm.
They have happened to you for a reason.
Yeah.
And you need to go back and value that and see, well, go, how can I use this, right? Like if you are a smoker and you want to quit smoking, who are you going to listen to? Somebody who's never smoked in their lives, or somebody who's still smoking,
right?
Who's want to quit?
Probably not.
Who's been there, who's tried to quit like 40 times, and he's finally did it.
Right.
And he or she still struggles with, like, some days are worse than others. Some days I really want that cigarette, but I choose not to.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we're still human beings.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think there's a misconception sometimes when women especially are looking at what they want to do, how they want to show up in this world, and it's like, well, I have to go back to school to get all this stuff, and just look at, like, the whole point is look at your life. Like, you've had these lessons throughout your life for a reason. Now go teach it. And like you said, a prime example, my husband has a friend she just finished nutrition school. And so we're working with her to better our nutrition, and a lot of times she'll quote this is what I read in this textbook, or this is the studies show. I was like, don't give me all that. Tell me what you do. What do you do on a regular basis? I don't care about the book smarts. I want to know, how have you used this knowledge that you have in your own life. So I love what you're saying, is to look back in your life and what have I done and what can I teach from it. It's a beautiful thing that we have right at the palm of our hands, and we try to make it more difficult by having to go back to school and get the letters behind our names. We don't need all that.
Yeah, what a great example that you just gave, because it highlights the fact that we are touched by other people's stories.
Right.
We're not touched by all, the PhD and all of the different certifications they have and all of the knowledge they have. That's important, but that's just important for them.
Right.
And when they want to hire somebody, for whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. And this applies to every area in your life. They're going to ask you, who are you and what have you been through?
Right.
And can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important for you to remember it's your story. And also, one of the things that I heard that I thought was so valuable is when you focus on that, there's no competition. Competition goes away, because if you're just focusing on how many certificates you have or how many degrees you have, then you're going to be competing with other people. But when you focus on your story, you're going to attract people who are attracted to that story.
Right.
And it has nothing to do, like, you don't have to compare yourself with another person in the same industry, like, because, why did they choose them? They chose them because their story touched them a little more, and that's fine.
And by comparing ourselves, or I don't want to say judging, but deciding what we're worth based on degrees or books, or whatever it is, you're putting the things out there. You're leaving it up to external factors to determine who you are, rather than who's in here. What is she worth? And she's worth a lot because of the things she's been through, not because of the external stuff that just is stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not substance.
Exactly, and that's what touches people more. So I kind of went on a tantrum, but I didn't really finish, right, about the book. So you were asking me, how did it get written? Or?
Yeah, just how, your journey in writing that book. And I love that you said it was a journey, because I feel like that was my experience as well, writing my book. It was more of a journey. Like, I didn't start to be like, this is what I'm going to write about. It just evolved and turned out to be something I wasn't quite expecting. And so writing that book allowed you to kind of look at your path that you've traveled and said, wow, I've come a long way. And look at all this stuff that I learned. And now you're teaching it. You're teaching it to women. So talk a little bit about that, like how it evolved from writing the book to now how you show up in the world and what it is that you do.
Okay, yeah, and I think the next thing that came up for me was the Feminine Soul community. So when I decided, like, I remember purchasing, first of all, I couldn't believe that the domain name was available, right? FeminineSoul.com.
Beautiful thing.
I was like, oh my God, I am meant to do this.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, I bought it like not even a year ago.
But here's the thing too, to point out with this, that's a message right there. Because I mean,
Yes.
that's buying it a year ago. There's a lot of great domains taken at this point. I'm not saying it's impossible, but when you get a thought and you go, 9 times out of 10, the domain's not there.
Yeah.
So,
I searched for tons of domains.
Yes.
Tons.
So that is definitely a symbol to you from the universe, you know, like not to get too woo-woo, but it's stuff like that we have to pay attention to. That was available because it was yours to teach.
Exactly. And there's a book out there also called Feminine Soul. It's more of a religious thing, but, I'm not that I'm recommending it. But I was like, okay, there's a book. There's all these other things with Feminine Soul, but I was able to buy the domain name. So that was a huge sign for me. And then, so I got excited and, I took action and I designed a website. I'm very hands-on, so I go and I do it. But then I wasn't able to move it forward because then there's also there's 2 steps. First, you set things up and then you have to nurture it, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we get very busy, right? And it's hard to do the maintenance or the day-to-day thing. And that's when I realized that it was too big of a vision. The vision that I have was too big, and I wasn't able at that time. Yeah, and I wasn't going to be able to do it myself. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I decided to enroll some amazing feminine soul leaders, what I call feminine soul leaders, to help me with the vision. And I thought, well, how great is this? Because I want to live the principles of femininity. Mm-hmm. Now, am I perfect? No. But I want to be as close to them as possible. So collaboration is one of the most powerful things you can do nowadays. So I enlisted these 3 beautiful souls who are helping me move the message and the vision forward. And I think that's great. And it's so funny. I was talking to this great friend of mine. She's a beautiful soul. However, I felt she was a little bit in her masculine because, and that's okay. I'm not judging it because I get in my masculine too. But what I thought was interesting is she kept asking me. She couldn't understand why these ladies would want to support my vision. But what do they get out of it? But you're not paying them, and like she couldn't grasp it. Right. And that happens sometimes when we don't see the vision, and that what that taught me is that she was very into her masculine, so she couldn't understand the concept of collaboration. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, at the same time, like during those same days, I just keep getting emails, or when we get on a call with the feminine soul leaders, they keep thanking me all the time. Like, thank you so much for sharing the vision with me. I can't believe that you're so generous in sharing your vision with us. Mm-hmm. All of them, every single one of them. So it's an interesting contrast to see how, because they are in their collaborative mode. Right. I mean, they are in their feminine essence. So it was very interesting for me to notice from aside, from like what an interesting dynamic when we are in our feminine and when we are in our masculine.
Yeah. Something that comes to mind with that, and I love this, but I believe that we're all connected. Humans, animals, we're all connected, and we all have one essence that we come from. And I believe that your vision and my vision and someone else's vision all overlap at some point. And so what I thought of when you were talking about your vision, and they're saying, oh, thanks for getting in my vision, but somehow their vision overlapped with yours, and in that space is the collaboration, and it's right for everyone.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I talk about. And like I'm not doing this community just to benefit myself. Right. I mean, the goal is for us to all grow and benefit, in some way. So my intention is always for the we. It's not the me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so they get it. They totally get it, and they're all on board. But it's interesting when people that just kind of like, well, what's in it for me? And I know we it's normal. We all want to know what am I getting out of it. But that's our ego talking too. Mm-hmm. So it's important for us to recognize it. Yeah. And to see. you know?
Absolutely. And that's the feminine. It's separating the ego from the intuitive. Like, what's the intuitive thought, and what's the fear-based ego thought? What's in it for me? Scarcity, lack, you know, and like, I'm afraid of that. But the intuitive side is, how can I live my best life and serve others doing that? How has your life changed from your days of the corporate world to now? I mean, and we're all still evolving on our journey. So our businesses and what our passions are now are going to be very different in 5 years. But how has it changed for you now? What is your life like?
Wow. That's an interesting question. I feel more aligned with who I am. Mm-hmm. You know, do I make mistakes? Absolutely. You know, but I feel what I do is a better reflection of who I am internally.
Yeah.
And that, I think, has made such a huge difference for me. Mm-hmm. And that's still evolving, because we're always evolving as human beings. But that has been incredibly amazing. It has been an amazing journey for me. Trying to see, I mean, my relationship has been, I think, has benefited a lot, because I'm able to be there more for my husband, you know, and I like that. I enjoy that, you know. I give so much on every day. You know, I mean, my days are full, and I just get so much done every day. But then when my husband comes, I actually enjoy taking the time out to, you know, make him dinner. Yeah. I used to hate it.
Yeah.
I used to hate it. Oh, my God. I remember, we've been married. We've been together for 11 years it's going to be now. And this has only happened like 3 years ago that I started cooking. The first 8 years, I was like, you cook. And he's a great cook. So he's the one that used to cook all the time. And I used to do as little as possible, because I absolutely hated it. But when I started my own business, and I actually take joy, because it's a creative process. Well, granted, there are days that I'm like, what am I going to make for dinner today?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But most of the time, I really enjoy it. First of all, it's a way for me to, you know, give back to him for all of the amazing things he does for me. And it's also a way for me to also be my creative and just relax, because it's so, like, intense in front of the computer all day. It's a change for me. So that has been wonderful.
I think just something that you said, just, you know, when we work in the corporate world, we have busy days, but we come home, and I say we, but I'm going to speak for me, and this is what I wrote about in my book, is bringing that home is being like, I hate my job. You bring it home to your husband, you bring that energy to your kids, but my days are still very busy too, and I feel like I'm like all over the place sometimes, but I still come home like, yay, it's dinner time, you know. There's not that sense of dread anymore, or that energy that's wasted on stuff we don't like, you know. I feel now I'm in touch with that feminine side and that intuitive side. If there's something that allows me to constrict, like, I don't want to do that, then I say, I'm not going to do it. I get rid of it a lot faster than I used to. So I think that was a great point that you make. Dinner is still sometimes a chore, but it's still enjoyable. It's still joyful.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Conscious Living Magazine and how people can get their copies of that.
Sure. So Conscious Living Magazine is a project that I started. I got inspired, I think it was like the last week of 2012. It's like,
turn that around fast. I mean,
yeah,
I have my copy of it, and there's a ton of content in there. How did you do that? I don't even know if I can do that.
Collaboration.
Oh, yeah, woo! There's the lesson again, collaboration. That's so funny. That's perfect.
I mean, a lot of work, but I reached out to, I'd say, 4 or 5 people and say, this is my vision. Do you have, any valuable content, like, for this audience that would cover this topic or that topic? And everybody was excited. Everybody was on board. And within no time, I had all the content. So it was just a matter of putting it together. And it wasn't just a magazine. I don't know if you've seen, but I'm also going to create an inspirational video every month.
Oh,
So,
no, I didn't see that. I haven't read through the whole thing yet, but I was like, oh my God, there's a ton of stuff in here.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
Boy.
So I did also like, for me, it's all about being inspired. I think it's inspiration is so important. So I kind of like to get my hands on sometimes creating like, videos and inspirational things and quotes and images and stuff like that. Excuse me. So I got my hands dirty and I created this cute little inspirational video. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this for every month.
Okay, I did see the video. I did watch it yesterday. Now I'm piecing it up. But I didn't realize you were doing one of those every month. I thought it was just like, kind of an introduction to Conscious Living magazine. You're going to do one every month?
Yeah, because every month is a theme. You see, so the theme of January, it's a little bit loose because we had to do it in 2 weeks. Yeah. But it was about starting over, how do you, new beginnings and getting rid of the old so that we can start the new. Yeah. And then every month we're going to have a theme so that we can really discuss that theme and explore that theme. So the articles are going to be around that theme, the video is going to be around that theme. And then later on, the intentions in a couple weeks, hopefully by February, is to create a community around that too, where we're going to have book club discussions and we're going to have more videos, meditations, you name it. There's a lot coming. Yes.
One final lesson that I want to point out in what you just told us about conscious living is you said honestly, like January's a little loose because we put it together. But the beauty in that is that you didn't wait to get it perfect. You did it, knowing it's going to be a little bit loose, but it's still going to bring, someone's going to read that and get something out of it. And so I think we as females sometimes get into, I don't want to put it out there till it's perfect, till it's ready, and it's never going to be ready, and it's better just to get it out and bring joy to somebody. And it'll grow and it'll all come together. But it's a project you launched without any hesitation.
I am so glad you said that because that is so important. And I have to say, I'm what they call a recovering perfectionist. I think that's what they call it. Yeah. And I was, for a long time, that's what I did. I waited till everything was perfect, everything was aligned, and then I never got anything done. Yeah. And, you said something about taking inspired action, I think in the beginning. Yeah. Think of it this way. Take every day, or just take imperfect but inspired action.
That's good.
It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'll give an example. The opt-in page right now, it's not perfect. There's a lot that I still need to do. But I just need to get it started. I need to get it going. So I just put it up there. And then, a good sign to me was that people started registering for it. So they kept telling us, oh, we want this. Like, awesome. So, okay, I'll keep doing it. I'll keep making it better and better and better. But at the same time, I'm moving. I'm not getting stopped because I don't know. Like, a lot of things I don't know yet, you know? So there's still a lot more to come. But the important thing is I launched it, is I got it started. Yeah. And that's the most important thing.
So how can people find it? For now, it's free, right? Will it continue to be free?
Yes, it will. It will always be free. We will offer later some like community things that people can sign up for, but the magazine will always be free.
So how can people get a hold of their copy?
The magazine, they can sign up to receive the magazine on the website is Conscious Living Soul, SOUL.com.
Conscious Living
Soul. As you
can
tell, I like the word soul.
I do too. Soul mama.
Oh yeah!
I am the soul mama.
So consciouslivingsoul.com. Perfect.
All right. Well, boy, this has been jam-packed with lessons. I want to keep going, but I also want to, if it gets too long, then people just, they tune out. So I think this has been such a great, valuable interview, just chock full of different lessons that we can each take in our own lives and take a look. Are we doing these things, or do we need to implement them into our lives? So you can find Vanessa on vanessahalloum.com, femininesoul.com, and or consciouslivingsoul.com. And I would be the first to tell you, definitely get into the community at Feminine Soul and get your Conscious Living Soul magazine, because I have enjoyed what I've read so far. Vanessa, thank you for all of your insights. This has been a beautiful interview, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you for being here. I know you were a little worried about the video, but you were beautiful and just spoke your message so eloquently. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate it.
Good. It has been fun. So all of you out there, please, if you've enjoyed this video, please share it. This is a project that's near and dear to my heart as well. So I want to get this out to the world and start changing some lives. So thank you for being here on this Spotlight interview on the ReinventionChannel.com. I'm Vidette Vanderweide with my friend Vanessa Halloum. We're going to say goodbye, and we will see you on the next webisode. See you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.